Okay, so what if you could build an entire video game world just by describing it? No coding, no artistic talent needed, just whatever's in your imagination. Well, that is the incredible promise behind Google's Project Genie, and today we're going to break down how it all works. Just take a second and really think about that. You type out an idea, maybe upload a quick sketch, and boom, you're in it. A playable world materializing in real time right from your own thoughts. And yeah, this isn't science fiction anymore. It's exactly what Google DeepMind and Google Labs are working on with a system they've appropriately named Project Genie. It's a real experimental AI designed to do just that. So what's the plan for this explainer? First, we'll look at what it means to create your own worlds with Genie. Then we'll peek under the hood at the engine making it all happen. We'll walk through how you can use it, talk about why this is such a huge deal for the future of AI, and finally look at what's next on the road ahead. All right, let's dive right in. First things first, what is Project Genie, really? So at its heart, it's a research prototype. It's an app that takes your text prompts and your images and then generates a living, breathing, explorable world. And that word explorable is everything. We're not just making a pretty picture here. We're building an interactive space you can actually walk, run, or even fly through. Now, I know what you're thinking. Awesome. Where do I sign up? Well, hold on just a sec. Right now, access is pretty limited. It's only for Google AI Ultra subscribers. They have to be in the US and be over 18. The idea is to roll it out to more people over time, but for now, they're keeping the group small to get really good feedback. So, how in the world does Google even pull something like this off? Let's get into the technology that's making all this magic happen. It's all built on something called a world model, and this is the key. A world model doesn't just generate a static image of a world. It tries to understand the rules of that world. It gets that if you push something, it should move. It's simulating physics and cause and effect, and that's a massive, massive leap. You know, this chart really nails the difference. Think about traditional games on the left. Those worlds are static, they're pre-built. You're basically walking down a path that a developer already laid out for you. But with Genie on the right, the world is being generated in real time. The path is created as you explore, and your actions actually matter because the AI is simulating what should happen next. It's the difference between a movie set and a living world. Okay, so that's the theory behind it. But what does it actually feel like to use this thing? Let's take a look at the creator's toolkit. The whole experience really breaks down into three main parts. First up is world sketching, where you lay out your idea with prompts. Next is world exploration, where you literally jump in and navigate your creation, while the AI builds it around you. And finally, there's world remixing, which lets you find a world someone else made and put your own spin on it. And the amount of control you get right from the beginning is just wild. You can see all the options here. You're not just describing the scenery, you're creating your character. You're deciding how they move. Are you walking? Flying? Riding a dragon? You even get to set the camera perspective. This is a full-blown creative suite, not just a simple text box. Look, this is way more than just a cool tool for making games. This represents a really fundamental shift in where AI research is going, from mastering simple board games to actually building entire worlds from scratch. This quote from the research team really cuts to the core of why this project is so important. The ultimate goal for many in AI is creating artificial general intelligence, or AGI. And to get there, you need an AI that can handle the messy, chaotic, unpredictable nature of the real world, not just the perfect, structured rules of a game like chess. And this timeline puts it all into perspective. For years, the big AI wins were in mastering games with fixed rules, right? Chess, Go. That was step one. But these general world models, like Genie, are step two. They're about learning the rules of any environment, no matter how weird or creative. It's a critical stepping stone on the path towards that ultimate goal of AGI. So with all of this incredible ambition, it's really important we ground ourselves in where the project is today. And the truth is, it's still very much an early stage, experimental prototype. And to their credit, the team is being very open about the current limitations. The worlds can sometimes look a bit weird or glitchy. Character controls can feel a little clunky, and right now you can only generate about 60 seconds of gameplay at a time. It's a true work in progress, and they want everyone to know that. But the long-term vision? That's crystal clear.
This whole experiment is about learning from these early users so that eventually they can put this unbelievable creative power into the hands of anyone and everyone. And that really leaves us with a huge, profound question. This kind of technology completely democratizes creation. It takes it away from being something only technical experts can do and gives it to anyone with an idea. When that happens, storytelling, gaming, simulation, it all changes forever. So the real question isn't just what new worlds we'll see, but what world will you create? Have you ever found yourself literally yelling at your voice assistant because it just doesn't get what you're saying? Or maybe you've tried to get the lyrics from a song and what comes back is, well, just total gibberish? It's a common frustration, but the way AI understands our speech is right in the middle of a massive revolution. Today, we're diving into a brand new family of models called Qwen3-ASR that might just put these problems to bed for good. So what is all the hype about? Well, Qwen3-ASR isn't just some small incremental update. No, the researchers behind it are calling it an all-in-one champion of speech recognition. That's a pretty bold claim. So let's unpack what that actually means in the real world. I mean, just look at the sheer range we're talking about here. This isn't just about clean audio in a quiet room. We're talking about accurately transcribing a song with a full band blasting in the background, or understanding you perfectly over the sound of a busy street, and then effortlessly switching between dozens of different languages and dialects. These are exactly the kinds of tough situations where most of our current systems just completely fall apart. Now, the crucial thing to understand is that this isn't just about one single new feature. It's a whole suite of superpowers all rolled into one model. It's tough in noisy places, it actually gets music and singing, it's a true polyglot, and it is incredibly fast. Plus, as we're about to see, it has this almost spooky ability to know the exact timing of every single word. But to really truly appreciate what a giant leap forward this is, we need to take a quick step back. Let's look at the fundamental reason why older speech-to-text AI just gets things wrong so often. This quote from the research paper really hits the nail on the head. You see, traditional AI was fantastic at one thing: acoustic pattern matching. It was great at hearing sounds and matching them to words it knew. But it was missing what the paper calls world knowledge. It could hear the sounds for ice cream and ice cream, but it had no real way to know which one actually makes sense in the context of a sentence. So let's move on and see how Qwen3-ASR completely flips that old approach on its head, building on the powerful foundation of today's large language models. And this comparison just lays out the shift perfectly. We're moving away from just matching sound waves to actually understanding language and context. The new way doesn't just hear isolated words, it understands the relationships between them, using a massive base of knowledge to predict what you're most likely trying to say. The secret sauce behind all this is a technology called a large audio language model, or LALM for short. Now, think of it this way. Instead of just writing down sounds as they come in, the LALM listens to a whole chunk of audio, it thinks about what it all means together, and then it generates the text. It's a process that's much, much closer to how a human actually listens and understands. Okay, so the theory sounds great on paper, but how does this new approach actually perform when you put it up against the current heavyweights in the industry? Well, the researchers basically threw down the gauntlet. First up, one of the toughest challenges out there, accented English. This table shows something called the word error rate. Just think of it like a golf score for transcription. The lower the number, the better you're doing. And would you look at that result? Qwen3-ASR is way more accurate than both OpenAI's Whisper and even their new GPT-4o. That's proof that it's just much better at handling the rich diversity of how people actually talk. But the performance gap gets even more jaw-dropping when you look at singing. I mean, this is a notoriously hard thing for AI to do because of all the pitch changes and stretched-out vowels. But Qwen3-ASR doesn't just beat the competition here, it absolutely crushes it, with an error rate that's less than half of its closest rival. It's not even a close fight. And get this, it does all of this with unbelievable speed. At its peak, the smaller model can process 2,000 seconds of audio. That's over 33 minutes of speech in a single second. That kind of efficiency is an absolute game changer for any kind of real-time application. But getting the words right is only half the battle. For things like subtitles or for researchers analyzing data, you need to know exactly when each word was said.
And this is where Qwen has another killer feature up its sleeve. We've all been there, right? Watching a movie with subtitles that are just slightly out of sync, it's incredibly distracting. Getting the timing of each word to pop up on screen at the perfect moment has always been a massive headache for automated systems. Well, this problem is solved by the Qwen3 Forced Aligner. This table here shows the average timing error in milliseconds. The best competitor is off by over 100 milliseconds, which is definitely noticeable. Qwen3, it slashes that error down to just 32 milliseconds. That is a delay so small it's basically imperceptible to the human eye. It's a huge leap in precision. So the key takeaway here is this really powerful two-step workflow. First, the main ASR model gives you a super accurate transcript. Then, the forced aligner goes back through it and pins a precise timestamp on every single word. The result? You get perfectly synchronized, professional-quality captions, all generated automatically. So the technology is clearly amazing. But the story doesn't end there, because how this technology is being released into the world is just as important as the tech itself. Let's see how this all ties together. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most critical piece of the puzzle. We live in an AI world where many of the most powerful models are kept locked away behind corporate walls as proprietary secrets. But the team behind Qwen3 is doing the opposite. This entire state-of-the-art toolkit is being released completely open source for anyone to use and build on. And the impact of that decision is going to be huge. It means better voice assistants that finally actually understand us. It means subtitles on videos that are accurate and reliable. It gives researchers amazing new tools to study language. And it opens the door to a whole new generation of accessibility apps. It really empowers a whole global community to create things we haven't even dreamed of yet. And that really leaves us with this one fascinating question for the future. For decades, the big challenge has been trying to get machines to understand the beautiful complexity of human speech. Now that we're right on the verge of actually solving that, the real question becomes, what are we going to build with it? All right, listen up, because Mistral AI just dropped a massive update for its AI coding agent, and if you spend any time writing code, you're going to want to hear about this. We're going to break down exactly what Mistral Vibe 2.0 is, what's new, and why it might totally change the way you work. Let's dive in. You just gotta love a headline like this, right? It perfectly sums up who this is for. Developers. You know, the people who live and breathe inside the command line. It's a clever little nod that tells you right away this tool is built by people who get it. So here's the deal. Mistral Vibe 2.0 is officially out. And this isn't some tiny patch, it's a huge overhaul. The whole thing is now powered by their brand new, cutting-edge Devstral 2 model family. Think of that as the super powerful new brain behind the whole operation. So, what does that actually mean for you? Well, the whole theme of this 2.0 release is all about control and customization. Mistral is basically handing you the keys, letting you shape this AI agent to fit your specific needs and your personal workflow. It's about moving away from a one-size-fits-all tool. First up, we have something called custom sub-agents, and this is incredibly powerful. Imagine building your own little squad of AI specialists. You can create one sub-agent that's an absolute pro at writing deploy scripts, another that's a genius at reviewing pull requests, and a third that can just crank out unit tests all day. You build them once, and then you can call on them whenever you need them. So you're not just using a generic tool, you're using a team you built yourself. Okay, this next one, this is a huge quality of life win. We've all been there, fighting with an AI that just keeps misunderstanding what we want. Well, instead of just guessing and running with it, Vibe 2.0 will actually pause and ask you for clarification. It gives you a few clear options to choose from. It's a simple, smart way to collaborate, and it saves you so much time and frustration. Let's talk about speed. We all have those repetitive tasks we do a dozen times a day. This new feature, /command skills, lets you bundle those complex workflows into a simple, memorable command. Things like /deploy or /lint. It's all about making your life easier and keeping you in that coding flow state. You know that feeling of switching gears? One minute you're working on the front end, the next you're deep in a database issue. Unified Agent Modes is designed to fix that. You can set up different modes for each project or context, each with its own set of tools and permissions. It means you can jump between completely different tasks without having to reconfigure everything every single time. It's a massive time saver. And here's a small, but honestly a really nice touch. No more manual updates. The Vibe command line tool just updates itself automatically in the background. So you always have the latest and greatest features and bug fixes without ever having to think about it. Super convenient. Okay, these features sound awesome.
So the big question is, how do you get your hands on it? Let's break down the plans and pricing so you know what's up. So, getting Vibe 2.0 is part of Mistral's Lisha subscription plans. You've basically got two main paths. There's the Pro plan, which is perfect for individual developers doing day-to-day work. Then there's the Team plan, which has everything in Pro but adds essentials for companies, like one bill for everyone and priority support.
For most individual devs, this is the number you're going to want to remember. The LeChat Pro plan, which unlocks the full power of Vibe and the new Devstral 2 model, comes in at just under $15 a month.
And hey, for all you students out there, check this out. Mistral is offering a full 50% discount on that Pro plan. That's a fantastic deal that makes these professional-grade tools way more accessible while you're still learning. But what if you're a real power user, or you want to build your own stuff on top of their models? Well, if you go past the plan limits, you can just pay as you go. You've got two API options: the full-power Devstral 2 model for the heavy lifting, and a cheaper, faster, small version for simpler tasks. It's all about picking the right tool for the job, you know? And of course, for the really big companies with super specific needs, they've got you covered too. They offer custom enterprise solutions like fine-tuning models on your company's private code, or even helping you modernize ancient code bases. It shows they're serious about serving developers at every single level. All right, let's bring it all home. We've seen what it is, what it does, and what it costs. Now for the best part, how ridiculously easy it is to get up and running. Seriously, getting started is as simple as 1, 2, 3. You install the tool from your terminal, you sign up for an account to unlock everything, and then you just type Vibe. That's it. We're ready to start building. And this right here, this is the magic command. If you've ever used a terminal, this will look super familiar. You literally just copy this one line, paste it, hit enter, and the installation just handles itself. It really doesn't get any simpler than that. And this brings us to the perfect closing question from Mistral. They've built this incredibly powerful, customizable tool that's designed to fit right into your daily workflow. They've opened the door and handed you the keys. The tool is ready to go. The only question left is, what are you going to build first? Okay, so the entire world of AI is getting a massive shakeup. And get this, it's coming from a company you've probably never even heard of. Not yet, anyway. A developer called Moonshot AI just dropped an open source model that isn't just trying to play catch up with the big guys. No, it's looking to leave them in the dust. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is a huge claim, a brand new open source model claiming it can outperform the biggest, most advanced, closed-off models on the planet. That's the kind of headline that makes everyone in tech, and I mean everyone, stop what they're doing. It's the ultimate David versus Goliath story. But we're talking about AI, so is there any fire to go with all the smoke? Let's find out. All right, so let's meet our contender. In one corner, you've got Moonshot AI, a developer coming out of China. And in the other corner, well, it's their creation, KIMI-K2.5. It's new, it's powerful, and this is the key part. It's completely open source. Now, I know what you're thinking. New contender, right? You're probably picturing a couple people in a garage somewhere. Well, you couldn't be more wrong. Moonshot AI is reportedly raising funds at a mind-blowing $4.8 billion valuation. Yeah, you heard that right. This is no scrappy underdog project. This is a heavyweight, well-funded operation with one goal: to take on the champs. So, the big question is, how on earth did they do it? How do you build a model that can even attempt to compete at this level? Well, the secret isn't just brute force. It's not just about being bigger. It's about being smarter. And the real magic behind KIMI-K 2.5 is this incredibly clever design trick called a mixture of experts. Okay, so what in the world is a mixture of experts, or MOE model? The analogy here is actually perfect. Think about it like this. Instead of trying to build one giant jack-of-all-trades brain that's kind of good at everything, you build a team of superstars. You've got your math genius over here, a coding prodigy there, and a creative writing guru in the corner. When you give it a problem, the system is smart enough to say, that's a math problem, and it sends it straight to the math expert. It's all about using the right tool for the job. And what this team of experts approach allows for is just insane scale. KIMI-K 2.5 boasts a total of 1 trillion parameters. I mean, that's a number that's hard to even wrap your head around. It puts it right up there in the big leagues, the absolute top tier of models when it comes to pure size. But, and this is the really clever part, that's not the whole story. Because even though it has that 1 trillion parameter arsenal, for any single task you give it, Kimi only fires up about 32 billion of them. See what's happening? It's only waking up the specific expert it needs for that moment. It's this incredible efficiency. It has all the knowledge and power of a giant, but it moves with the speed and agility of a model that's way, way smaller. It's the best of both worlds.
And this whole work smarter, not harder philosophy, it doesn't just stop with the architecture. Nope. Kimi 2.5 is also built from the ground up for pure speed in how it actually thinks and processes information. And the secret ingredient here is something called parallelization. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. Imagine you're at the grocery store. Sequential processing is that one lonely checkout lane with a huge line. It's slow, one person at a time. Parallel processing, that's when they yell, "I can help the next person," and open up 10 registers at once. Everything moves so much faster. By doing tons of calculations all at the same time, Kimi can pinpoint what it needs to know way, way faster.
But wait, there's more. They took this whole idea of working in parallel and just cranked it up to 11 with a feature they call the K2.5 agent swarm. So if the mixture of experts is your team of specialists, you can think of the agent swarm as the super efficient project manager who can get 100 of them working on different parts of the same big project all at once. So here's how that actually plays out. You give Kimi a really complex task. The system's orchestration engine immediately kicks in, acting like that project manager. It chops the big problem up into a bunch of smaller, bite-sized pieces. Then it hands out those pieces to up to 100 different AI agents, who all get to work at the same time. Once they're all done, it gathers up all their work and puts it together for the final answer. It's basically hyper-efficient AI teamwork, and the result is you get your answer way, way faster.
Okay, so the tech sounds amazing, right? It's huge, but it's also incredibly efficient and fast. But that's all just theory. Now it's time for the main event. How does KIMI-K 2.5 actually perform when you put it in the ring with the reigning champs from OpenAI and Anthropic? Let's look at the numbers. And boom, here we go. This is the HLE full benchmark. HLE stands for Holistic Language Evaluation, and you need to know, this thing is notoriously hard. It's not about simple trivia. It throws incredibly complex multi-step problems at the AI. We're talking theoretical physics, advanced logic, stuff that requires genuine deep understanding. And look at that. KIMI-K 2.5 doesn't just hang in there. It comes out on top. It actually scores higher than both GPT 5.2 and Claude 4.5. This right here, this is the result that backs up that absolutely massive claim we saw at the start.
But, let's be fair and look at the whole scorecard. While Kimi scored that huge knockout on the HLE benchmark, the fight is incredibly close everywhere else. You can see GPT 5.2 still has a slight edge in reasoning and math, and Claude 4.5 is a tiny bit ahead on coding. But the real story here isn't who won by a fraction of a point. The big takeaway is that for the first time, a truly open-source model is in the ring, trading blows with the absolute best in the world. We're talking a difference of less than a percentage point in most cases. That is unheard of.
So let's zoom out a little. What does this all actually mean for the future of AI? Because the arrival of a model like KIMI-K 2.5, it's more than just a cool piece of tech. This could be a sign of a fundamental shift in how the entire industry works.
I mean, why is this such a game changer? Well, first off, accessibility. Suddenly, the most powerful AI isn't just locked up in the vaults of a few mega corporations. Anyone can use it. Imagine a small startup using Kimi to cure disease, or an indie game developer creating worlds we can't even dream of, all without a massive budget. Second, competition. This puts some serious pressure on the big guys to keep pushing the envelope. And finally, and this is so important, transparency. Since the code is open, the smartest people from all over the world can look under the hood, figure out how it works, find its flaws, and make it better and safer for everyone.
Which really leaves us with this one big, fascinating question. For the longest time, the absolute best, most powerful AI has been a closely guarded secret, locked away by just a handful of companies. But now, that's all changing. The open source world has a true champion that can go toe-to-toe with the titans. So you have to ask yourself, are we witnessing the beginning of a brand new era for AI development? One that's more open, more competitive, and more accessible than ever before?